Welcome back. Let's continue the discussion on laminar non-premixed flame. So, what we started off is that the looking at different flame structure and we have seen how the flame structure changes when the flow becomes turbulent starting from laminar, and now we will go into some detailed analysis of those kind of structure. So, if you recall, this is the flame regime that we talked about, starting from laminar diffusion system to the completely turbulent flame. You can see nice structure here, then when it goes to, and this, as I mentioned earlier, this is primarily because of your fluid mechanics, how the underlying flow is behaving. If it is laminar, you get nice flame structure, and also with the increasing, and this is obviously for a jet flame, simple jet flame, it is increasing, but then once it becomes transition takes place. So, the structure gets distorted in this zone and it becomes completely chaotic when it goes to turbulent zone. So, we can do some analysis of that. Now, the simple approach. Now, for a simple laminar diffusion flames on circular nozzle, which is similar to a candle kind of flame. So, what we use is the flame height to characterize it. So, this is the important parameter that is used to characterize the flame. Now, for simple treatments, reaction zone is defined as the region where the fuel and air mixture is stoichiometric. So, that will tell you how you define the reaction zone. That means, this is your fuel coming in, this is your air comes in, and when the reaction takes place, that is the zone of stoichiometry. Obviously, the assumption lies there, I mean this will be occurring over an extremely wide range of fuel and air ratios. Now, diffusion process is also rate determining, so that the rate of reaction is directly related to the amount of fuel and oxidant diffusing into the reaction zone. That primarily happens because we inject fuel and oxidizer or the air separately into the system. So, once we do that, fuel and air, so how quickly they diffuse to each other, that will actually determine the rest of the reaction characteristics and all this. Now, we assume a simple conical laminar diffusion flame. Okay. Here molecular diffusion is considered only in radial direction. So, what is considered is that molecular diffusion is restricted to radial direction only. So, that is what we start off. Basically, we take an conical flame where diffusion is restricted to radial direction only. Now, average square displacement, which is also one can gain from Einstein diffusion equation. So, that is, this is the average distance is 2 dt. So, where height of the flame is taken as the point where average depth of penetration. So, average depth of penetration equal to tube radius. Okay. So, now one can approximate this y to the radius of the tube. If r is the, let us say, radius of the tube, then one can write this T is r square by 2 d. So, y here y is approximated to the radius of the tube. Now, we have, since we have some other, that is the time is L f by v, then we can write L f is v r square by 2 d. So, once you get the flame height, you can find out the volume flow rate. So, volume flow rate estimation can be made, which is Q F V pi r square. Now, if you use these two, we can approximate the flame height is the volume flow rate divided by pi d. So, that means, if you know the volume flow rate and know the radius of the tube, you can find out the flame height. Now, although it is quite crude, this approximation permit some predictions. Number 1, at a given flow rate, flame height is independent of the burner diameter. Now, secondly, since the diffusion coefficient D, which is inversely proportional to pressure, so the height of the flame, that is L f, is also independent of pressure at given mass flow rate, whereas this guy is directly proportional to the volume flow rate of the fuel. So, Q F 1 is the volume flow rate of fuel. So, that is what this F stands for. Now, this is an example of methane diffusion flame at high pressure. Now, you can see how this side is the pressure is increasing, and then you can see the different flame structure. So, this is a this clearly shows you the effect of the pressure on the flame structure and also on image. Now, we can consider the non-reacting constant density laminar jet. So, this is again a jet flame that we consider and try to do some analysis. Now, one of the things is that the analysis that we looked at just previously, that provides only some qualitative feature of laminar diffusion flame. So, it is not that very quantitative, but one would like to always have some quantitative description of the thing. Now, to have an detailed understanding of this reacting jet, so we will consider this constant density situation and then do the analysis. One important point here to be noted is the basic flow and diffusional process. So, if you try to define the problem schematically, this is how one can do, is that this is the diameter of the jet, this is how the jet core will evolve, and this is again the edge of the jet, because there would be some shear layer, because a free jet, or I would say unconfined jet. So, if you have an unconfined jet, it actually creates this free shear layer, and that is the height of the potential core, and this is the potential core, and this is the burner jet exit where the location starts. Now, we can look at this fuel mass fraction, how velocity varies at the different downstream location for varying x, and we will see. Now, potential core, that is, this is the what the height of the potential core, what does that mean? Physically, potential core means that the effects of viscous shear and the molecular diffusion are not in effect yet. So, the velocity and nozzle fluid mass fraction remains unchanged from their nozzle exit values and are uniform in this region. So, this is how one can define the potential core. Now, the region between the potential core and the jet edge, that means this region between the potential core and the jet edge, both the velocity and fuel concentration decreases monotonically to 0 at the jet edge. So, this is how one can look at it, the velocity and the fuel mass fraction when it comes to the jet edge, the monotonically decreases. Now, beyond the potential core, so this is what it is. Beyond the potential core, the viscous shear and the diffusion effects are active across whole field of the jet. That means, beyond this, this will be quite dominated by both the viscous effect and the diffusion effect. Now, what happens that your initial jet momentum is conserved throughout the entire flow field, Now, secondly, as the jet moves into surroundings, some of the momentum is transferred to air. So, which will lead to the decrease in velocity of jet. Third, along the jet increasing quantities of air are entrained into the jet as it proceeds downstream. Now, we can, once you have this, you can mathematically express all these things using the simply mathematical expression for this you can get from the momentum equation. So, if someone writes that 2 pi 0 to infinity rho r x v x square dr r rho e b square pi r square. Here this is the momentum flow of the jet at any x. So, one can define this one as, this is the momentum flow as j, and this is momentum flow issuing from the nozzle. So, jet E. Here E actually stands for the jet exit or the nozzle exit condition. Now, this process that control the diffusion and convection of momentum are similar to that process which control the fuel concentration field. So, essentially that is your convection and diffusion of fuel mass. Now, one can look at the distribution of fuel mass fraction, which will be a profile of y f function of r x. So, this should be similar to the velocity distribution v x by v e. So, this is a normalized velocity profile. Now, fuel molecules actually diffuse rapidly outward. Fuel molecules diffuse radially outwards as per Fick's law of diffusion. Now, the effect of moving downstream is to increase time available for diffusion. So, this will happen. So, the effect for moving downstream is to increase. Now, the width of the region containing fuel grows, essentially the width of region containing fuel grows with x and center line fuel concentration decay. Also, the mass of the fuel issuing from the nozzle is obviously constant, because fuel mass that is also conserved, otherwise that will violate the mass conservation principle. So, if we rewrite that, this will be rho r x v x r x y f r x r dr rho e v pi r square y f e, where y f e is 1, because the fuel mass fraction is 1. So, now to get the velocity and fuel mass fraction, to get the analysis done, we need some assumption, or we simplify this. Number 1, molecular weight at the exit will be equal to the molecular weight at the infinity, pressure is constant, temperature is also constant, and uniform density flow. Secondly, species transport is by fixed diffusion only. Third, momentum and species diffusivities are not only constant, they are equal. So, which means there is a non-dimensional number called Smith number. Smith number, which is nu by d is 1. So, that means the mass diffusion and the momentum diffusion are of the same order or they are equal. Number 4, diffusion is only considered in radial direction, not in the axial direction. So, which means the axial diffusion is neglected. Now, when there is a jet flow, this particular assumption is not a very good assumption, especially this will incur some error near jet exit. Since near the jet exit it is expected that the axial diffusion will be significant, this assumption will not hold good there, but otherwise downstream of the flow field this seems to be a reasonable assumption, but one has to be careful where it actually flows. So, close to jet exit it is primarily dominated by axial diffusion. So, there this will not hold good, or rather this is not a good assumption. Now, we can write our laws. First thing is the mass conservation. So, we will write del Vx by del x plus 1 by r del r of Vr r equals to 0. Now, axial momentum conservation equation, which will be Vx del Vx by del x plus Vr del Vr by del r nu 1 by r and species conservation equation, that is only for fuel, which will Vx del Yf by del x Vr d del r of r. So, these are the conservation equation we get, and only thing we write here the species conservation equation for fuel only. So, we will get, in addition to that we have one more thing is the oxidizer, which will be 1 minus fuel. Now, to solve this set of equation, one need boundary condition. So, the boundary conditions are there are unknowns in these equations Vx, Vr and Yf. So, we require boundary conditions each for Vx, Yf and Vr, otherwise we cannot solve it. So, need boundary conditions for all three of them. Now, we go at a time. First thing we go at the along Z center line, which is R0. This is Vr is 0. Del Vx by del R, which is that is also 0. Del Yf by del R 0. Last to these two things you can write from symmetry. Now, at large radius, that means R tends to infinity, Vx will be 0, Yf will be also. Now, at the Z exit, we get x equals to 0. So, here what we assume is that uniform axial velocity and fuel mass fraction and 0 elsewhere else. So, what you get Vx r less than r equals to 0 is V exit, Vx r greater than r is 0. Similarly, fuel mass fraction where r less than r Yfe, which is 1, and Yf 0 equals to 0. So, these are same. Now, these are the set of boundary conditions that you need, and now we can look at the solution procedure. So, we will stop here today and take it up in the next lecture.